Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the town board meeting of February 11th, 2025. The board has been in executive session, and I would like to ask for a motion to open the work session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're going to start off today with a discussion on board goals and objectives for the year. Jill, thank you for sending us the goals that we had outlined for last year. I'm assuming everyone had a chance to take a look at those and think about how we would like to move forward this year.
Yes.
Let's see. I can't tell which was page one, Jill, but
Starts with infrastructure, maybe?
we will start with
I have infrastructure as
not
page
FEMA, we have the sidewalk, I'm trying to find the first page.
Yeah, we do
This
town
is-
I think
hall
it's-
water 2024.
This
Okay, I have a different set of papers. I have papers that were in the packet for the work session. I think you
Is that
have
what-
a different set of papers.
it's in
Here, do you
it's in
want-
both actually, I think.
Here, do you wanna start with this?
Okay, sorry, I've got the extra sheet.
Got it? Okay.
Let me make sure we have
That's what they're
the same thing. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, thanks. Okay, we can start off with infrastructure. So last year, we have North Greeley on the list. And the update now is that we have received an application. We received it last Friday from Jeff Davis, the developer. And Sabrina is now reviewing it for completeness
Right, along with the engineering department, yes.
with the engineering department. Okay, good. So it's not really a goal, but we certainly will be helping them along. I know that we have site plan responsibilities, but I would like us to work with the planning board on that. And we'll wait to hear what the next steps are. From Sabrina, we'll have our attorneys, Mike is here, we'll have Lino, and we will get through the process with them. Okay. So we could take this one section at a time. Last year, we had the visioning of town-owned property. We have done that and we can talk about the follow-through to that. We had affordability workforce housing in there and expanding the diversity of housing. So does anyone have any thoughts as to this year and how we
My
move forward with?
my only thought is
These goals.
what we've just stated, we already have something in process to discuss this issue generally and somewhat specifically.
Right.
So I think it's moving forward, and what that means, we'll learn.
Yeah, exactly. What I would like to look at this year regarding zoning is what our private property owners might have in mind. If there's anything that we should know about coming down the pike, cause I'd like advance warning. Sometimes you have people presenting a project, you don't really know what's coming, but I'd like us to do more proactive planning to see what underutilized properties there are and contact the owners and at least find out what they have in mind. I'd like to do that and I would like to see some revitalization of our commercial district. So
Excuse me.
Let's
You know,
let's-
to that end, Vicky, when I think of, is it the old Lutheran church that's on 120? Is that the-
that's one of them, right?
Yeah, and the property behind it, that we've tried to do things, when we say we, it's not our property. But even if nothing else, routinely that property is unkempt, to put it generously and kindly, and it's really pretty unappealing. And probably drags down value and needs to be reassessed. I don't know if there's anything we can do as a town board or a municipality, but it's something to maybe poke at, if you will.
I think it's a great suggestion that we reach out to some of the private property owners, especially North and South Greeley. I agree that it's not always fun to be kind of behind the eight ball when projects are sprung on us. And I would like to see to learn if there are any thoughts on private property owners, you know? Are they thinking about selling, developing within the confines of what's in place in town? And I think that's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
With regards to the Envision Newcastle, I've already shared some of my thoughts, but I think that in a time where there's very little consensus from anybody about anything, I think the consensus was pretty clear about what the community wants and does not want. And I know we'll get there, but in the last like couple of days, some things have come to my mind in terms of things that we could fix around town, things that are already properties that are in disrepair. What can we do about that? Utility poles, I brought that up tonight, driving around my neighborhood and then driving around through town. And I don't want us to bite off more than we can chew. I'd rather use our time, energy, and town staff to make sure that projects that are half-baked become fully baked. Projects that maybe needed a little bit more attention, we're able to give our attention to. Things that maybe we've forgotten about, where were they when we last left off with them? That's kind of where I think I'd like to focus my energies, just making sure that things that we said we were gonna do, we actually do before we take on new things. That's where my head is at.
Okay, very good. Another thing, since we were talking about town and development, I had the opportunity 2 days ago to be at the county where I gave an update. The county executive has a weekly briefing and towns take turns giving updates, and so I was there on Monday. And I had the opportunity to talk to the director for small business and chambers of commerce. So there's a county position. She's the director of policy and programs for small business and chambers of commerce. Her name is Shari Rosen Asher. And Ali, I know that you're the new liaison
Yeah.
for the Chamber of Commerce. And I think it would be a great idea to meet with the chamber and have them meet with this person to get
love
different
that idea.
ideas from the county on what to do with the businesses that are there already. Maybe they could utilize her support and suggestions, so
I think that's a
it might
wonderful
be
idea.
nice to start that process and meet with them.
Thank you.
And see where we could go
I absolutely
from
will,
there.
thank you. I think
That'll be
that's a
something I
great
can work on
suggestion.
with you
Awesome.
as in your capacity as liaison. Okay, Jen, I know that you have things to say, but I guess we're going through categories.
Sure.
So I don't know if you have anything to add for, the zoning, I took infrastructure and zoning at the same time.
Well, I am interested in continuing our conversation about what came out of the Envision project and results. I think there's a lot in there to talk about. I agree that the community, first of all, there was a really good showing in terms of people responding to it, so that gives us a lot to chew on. And I agree that there was some clarity, but then there was also some interest in things that we could explore. So I don't wanna throw the baby out with the bathwater. I kind of wanna look at it together and be creative about it.
Okay. All right, and I just wanna be clear that all of the infrastructure goals are definitely a priority
Yes.
for me. The infrastructure projects that we have going, we certainly are not gonna stop them. I mean, I think that, and we can go through what they are as we go through this list. So next we have sidewalks and walkability. Last year and this year, most definitely, we have the CHAP line. We are really fortunate to have such a generous grant of $5 million, and with all of the previous grants from CSC plus the matching grants, I think we have over $7 million
It's amazing.
to begin, and we'll be able to
More than beginning.
complete over half of the trail. And so it's very exciting. I think that the presence of a bird sanctuary there with the help of Audubon and T-Town for educational programs will be absolutely fantastic. So that is a definite go, CHAP line. Next we had the 120 extension from last year, I think we have had to put on the back burner.
Yes.
Because it was the impediments to that with people's driveways being right next to where our, you know, where the roads would have to go, we'd have to take over people's entire driveways, we would have to switch over to the sides of the roads to continue the sidewalk on the opposite side, making the pathway very dangerous. I think we have to table that. We have the West Orchard, Gedney to Millwood sidewalk extension project. I would like to keep that
I would too, that's a priority for
as a
sure.
priority because
Absolutely.
that's very possible. And we also have the 117 Salem to 120 road, which people are actually, it's a path that people are actually using and it's very dangerous. And I think that with the work that the fire, you know, the Chappaqua Fire Department is doing, and they're required to fix the sidewalk adjacent to the firehouse.
So they're
And-
right, so they're actually gonna install a crosswalk that goes from the mobile station to the firehouse.
Okay,
And then extend the sidewalk, which is great, and so Jeff Gaspar, our new town engineer, has reached out to the fire district to see maybe if there's some economies in scale that we might be able to join in.
That's great.
yeah, so I think we wanna take advantage of that and pursue that sidewalk. And I think a lot of people will be able to use it. There are a lot of houses in that area and the Salem Road area, so I think that would be very promising. Last year we talked about the possibility of a turf field at the rec field. I think that was connected to the Envision project. And I'm not sure that we wanna pursue that. That certainly would not be a priority for me at this time, although it would be a nice thing to have. If we think of we're doing town hall and seeing, you know, what the funds are.
I
you
wonder, I have to wonder about in general, like what, without adding anything new. We're trying to make improvements to Amsterdam Park, there's fields there, Gedney. I know that we're always committed to like expanding the accessibility of our parks and rec programs, and that remains a priority for me, is where can we improve the facilities that we already have to maximize opportunities for our residents, young and old, to participate. And so maybe it wasn't a turf field in town, maybe it's not even a turf field, or maybe it's a different location for a turf field, but as we make these improvements, as we put bathrooms into Amsterdam and clean out the carriage house there and make that a space that's something we might be able to use, you know, I just think that there's a lot that we have already. With a little creativity, maybe we can improve.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just a question of what comes first.
Yes, totally.
A turf field is not a bad idea there because it could really, again, revitalize the downtown if you have a turf field on South Greeley. You know, there are pros and cons to that, but you could have, you know, football games under the lights, you can have people come into town and create you know, a lot of activity down there, so it's something to consider. But then again, you know, it's a natural grass field, which is nice
It's
as
beautiful.
well, so again, I don't think this is a priority, but it's something we can keep in the back of our minds.
I don't see it as a priority either, but I will say that we've made a lot of progress over the past few years, between, you know, since my tenure, I'm not saying I'm responsible, but since my tenure, we did this playground here, expanded that, got the basketball. We did Millwood Park, we got lights.
ADA walkways at Millwood.
And then we did the whole park in Millwood, so we've done a lot of different things. We've
Definitely.
always
Yeah.
prioritized.
And the park here is an inclusive park, which
Yeah.
is really wonderful.
Yeah.
So I think the town has definitely done a great job with the parks. Yeah, it'll just be a question of what we can do to maximize the impact of whatever that is. And so if we can maximize the utilize of the town recreation field, I think that could have a greater impact on the commercial district.
Right,
So-
and I think that the board may also want to think about the camp registration that just occurred and the overwhelming response from the community to our recreation programs.
right.
And the fact that they are over capacity despite our best efforts to accommodate everybody. And what types of facilities would we need to answer the requests of our community? to make sure that the kids have, summer camp. Whether it be not necessarily a turf field, but some all year round facilities that we might be able to use, because I think that that's something that thwarts us, especially with Amsterdam camp.
Yes.
Making sure that we have indoor facilities, comfortable indoor facilities that can accommodate the kids, so that when there's a sudden thunderstorm, we're not scrambling. We have the facilities to be able to really
I think part of that is what people have to understand with the Envision project is someone may say no to something now, but when they see that we could get an indoor facility or something, pardon me, then all of a sudden you start having a different conversation that's, I wouldn't use the term compromising, but a meeting of the minds to say, we'll give a little this, get a little that.
Yeah, and I don't know that people understood when they talked about development, that, when they said no, did that mean, you didn't want another park facility, you didn't want, I don't know.
Well, I think surveys are very good, they're very interesting, but they're only one data point, and from our perspective, I don't think that we're elected to make decisions by survey. But we surveyed in order to get information, we want to hear from the public. That is one data point, but speaking of recreation facilities, the other data point is our actual enrollment and what people are actually asking us in terms of camp programs, recreation programs. So for our camp program, we got over 450 applications. That is a tremendous number of applications, and I know that initially for our TOTS camp, we had 88 people who were registered. We had a wait list of 38. For Camp Adventure, we had a wait list of 42. For On the Go, we had a wait list of 75 kids. So I believe that's a wait list of I don't know, you do the math. That's a lot of kids on the wait list. And so luckily Ike was able to find other facilities, able to work with the school district for I know for Camp Adventure. So we were able to eventually accommodate a lot of those kids. But this is another data point. In addition to the survey, we have an increasing demand. It's a huge demand, and so there is a clear need that our residents are asking us to address. And we need to look at that. But that's in the category of what we do with town hall. And in addition to the other facilities.
I guess enrollment in camp is a survey of sorts, right? Because families are letting us know that they want their children to participate, and so we need to provide facilities. I think when you ask a straightforward question about development, maybe you get a hard no, but as Vicky's saying, there are other data points. And in fact, part of the survey also, for example, like asked about new businesses, and there was more enthusiasm for that than there was for the concept of development. So, I think there are different ways that we survey the town and the residents and what they want and need. And it's our job, I think, to parse through that and figure out what we actually, where we lean in and where we enhance what we offer to meet the needs that are expressed to us in different ways.
No, I agree. I think on certain issues, the survey results, there was consensus, an overwhelming consensus. And then in some of the other things, the desire for more green space, walkability, accessibility to facilities that are for the community. It was a little bit more maybe, right?
And even a safer traffic flow.
Right.
And after living here for, 20-something years, I know that that's important and that you worry about the safety of your kids and even of yourself when you venture into that space, So I think we do have to make decisions based on what we see and what we hear,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, very good. Did you wanna say something?
No, I was just saying, instead of going down the rabbit hole of this, we should probably
Keep going.
keep going.
Yes. Jeremy's our timekeeper.
Public
Thank
I'm not a
you,
timekeeper, I'm
Jeremy.
just trying to.
Moving along,
Yeah, how
moving along.
about public art, movable art? We have a great initiative from the Arts and Culture Committee. doing soliciting artists to paint murals for, you know, the Under the Bridge project. And I think they've got off to a wonderful start. Jen is the liaison to that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that art there. And that's definitely on our list of priorities. And so is there anything that you'd like to add to
Well, I
what's
guess
going on
I
there?
guess where it comes to town board goals and objectives, this is the section where I would jump in. You know, a year ago, I don't think I had as much of a you know, view on what we could achieve and what we were going to move forward to achieve. And the Arts and Culture Committee has done a lot of work in a few different ways. The mural project is primary and something they're very driven about. This bridge gallery where it's under the bridge and there are these 8 spots, and we have a couple of artists who we are you know, at the contract level with, and we've developed a senior project, a senior internship. So a Horace Greeley senior or maybe a couple of seniors can create a mural together, and that's very exciting, just bringing the youth energy and the youth contingent to be part of our goals and objectives. So there's that. You know, also under arts, and I don't know if public art kind of encapsulates it, but maybe the arts in town. There's also Chapac, and Friends of Chapac has a lot of energy for creating seasons for us, and you know, something that could be really productive is having a professional who guides the development of seasons. So that's something that we're talking about. And one area that I don't think shows up on our goals and objectives is around wellness. And I wondered if we could add in that category, because now we have a committee on mental resilience that is working hard, and you know, they had an event in June which was a first time Into the Light walk, which had such a strong response that we went ahead and created a committee to keep doing it every year and to bring mental health awareness to the fore in our community. So and also, you know, we have several committees who try to bring people together, like neighbors together, Holocaust and Human Rights and Committee on Inclusion and Belonging. And I think that goes under the category of wellness in town, how neighbors connect to each other and support each other. So just wanted to see if we could get that idea onto the goals and objectives for
Yeah,
town.
I'm wondering, just thinking about goals and objectives, I mean, it's committee work, we formed the committee, so I think that having formed that committee is showing that it is a priority. Jill, you've been doing this for far longer than me, so my impression about these goals and objectives are about things that we allocate funds for, right, or
And staff,
Funds or, you know,
or something
staff
that we
energy
give our attention to, but I'm not sure, because the committees are all really important, like conservation board. So what I'm wondering really is in terms of how we conceptualize this list of goals and objectives, whether committee work is on here, because I think that's speaks for itself. We have the committees, we're focused on them, and we're each a liaison to a number of them, so I just I'm just thinking about what we would put down on this discrete list. Because
I
those
thought this
committees that
was-
you mentioned are very important, but the others are also as important, so I don't wanna imply
Right, oh,
that
absolutely,
we're
100%.
putting a priority on some, which I mean,
I thought the idea of goals and objectives was actually to give Rob a sense of, you know, where we want to allocate funds.
right,
So, you know, I think that
It is.
our committees do spend funds, and it's probably, you know, good to just mention them. But I totally agree that all of the committees you know, are vital and do important work, and I guess they're not all mentioned here.
But I guess the point is that if an issue is covered by a committee, I think it goes without saying that it is a priority because we bothered to form a committee for it, whereas the goals and objectives are, I mean, this is how I think about it. The goals or objectives are areas where the staff can do work that we give direction for. You know, obviously there are many different ways of looking at this, but this is
This
always
is more
seemed like a
concrete, more
discrete
specific.
Yes, that's what I thought too.
document. But I am glad that you brought that up because it's something new. Mental wellness, and we've recognized it by forming that committee, and it's worth talking about. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, and we'll keep at it and maybe talk about it a little bit more because people aren't used to hearing about it. Yeah. Okay.
Last but not least. Oh no, that's not last. Electrical.
So I don't know about this. This was on our list. I think it's been this electric bus to connect to Millwood. It's been on the list for a number of years. And I don't
see
think
that.
we've ever really done anything. I think we're, in terms of electric vehicles, I think that, we try to get, police cruisers and we try to go that route. And I'm not sure that an electric bus to connect to Millwood would have a great impact on the town as much as other electric vehicles would. So
I'd
if
say it's
everyone
priority.
agrees, I would remove it from
I
the list,
agree.
even though I'm sure some people would like to have it. But I think there are other places where electric vehicles would have much better usage.
I
Okay,
agree.
so we'll take that out. Cell service, we have, I believe, almost enough information from Verizon to come to the public with some results of the survey that was done and what could come of it, and locations where we might be able to put additional cell towers. That's another conversation, but I just want to highlight that we will be talking about this and looking at this in the near future. Okay. The next I have is current projects. On this list, a lot of them are completed. One of the ongoing ones is the Chappaqua Performing Arts Center. I know that, we recently completed the roof and we'll be looking at putting solar on there, and we have the LED lights, the dimmable LED light fixtures going in very soon.
Yes.
They're going in now, okay? Alright, yeah, so Chapac is closed for the work until mid-March, I believe, early March, okay, good. Okay, so I look forward to those, seeing how that works and how that looks. But as for Chapac, and I think Jen, you alluded to that, we would like to work, I think I would like to work with Friends a little more closely in terms of setting a vision for the programming and seeing if we can maximize revenue and seeing how to, they have a fundraiser idea, so I would like to push that, to bring in we have great programming there already, but I think we could always make things better. And
More predictable, I think,
Yeah.
would be my goal. Season after season, kind of what to expect.
right, so Jen, you're the liaison to that group. I would like to ask them to come back. Again, we've had joint meetings with them that have been very useful, so when they're ready, I'd like to invite them to come to a board meeting and have a joint meeting so that they can share what their vision is and how we can continue progressing with Chapac and seeing not only what a vision for programming is, but a vision for financing that facility. It's a wonderful town asset. Our community groups use it, and I'd like to looking at you, Rob, I'd like to talk about what the finances are. Once again, we've done this before, but maybe we could get an update on that. When Friends comes in, we can all sit together and
Yeah, I think it's something I've maintained and we shared it when we went when we had the walkthrough a couple months ago over at the theater, and yeah, we talked about maintaining that and maybe sharing it on a quarterly basis, just so everybody knows you know, kind of both sides, the revenue and the expense.
Okay, that would be great. Maybe you could add that to your quarterly
Yep,
financial report, so
absolutely.
that way we have a systematic way of going through it.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. Gedney Park, we did a lot of the work there to replace the stairs. But I would like to add to that, the work on the Gedney Pond now. And I'd like an update on that. I know that timing has been an issue. I really want to see that pond remediated for the summer, and I hope that can happen.
That's the plan, let's put it that way. So we have engaged one company to do mapping of the pond and sampling. As soon as the ice melts, they tell us that they will schedule us to get out there and do that. Since last year, the DEC has changed its permitting parameters, and so whereas Gedney Pond was not within their purview before, it is now. So the company that we engaged to do the sampling and the mapping has also put in preliminary applications for the permitting. And in the meantime, we were also looking at an application so that regardless of whether or not the material is removed or not removed from the bottom of the pond, that we should be able to, we will be able to get ahead of the growth, the algae growth this year.
Okay, good,
So
and
we're sort of, you know, ideally, we'd like to be able to hydro rake the pond. The problem is that that is all decaying organic material that you would be pulling up, and you don't really take it off site, you leave it. If anybody has ever observed decaying organic material, it doesn't smell great. And so we don't want to replace one nuisance with another nuisance. So ideally, you would want to rake it sometime in late autumn, have it dry over the winter, and then it's neutralized by the time the spring comes. And that's great, but that's not gonna really fare well for us this year. So we have a plan B, and hopefully we should be good.
okay,
Okay.
alright, thanks, Jill. Okay, so let's see. We talked about a lot of these other things on the list, the Millwood Park, we've completed the ADA access to the playground, we talked about Chapac. We received the grant for the vac truck for the stormwater cleanup and all the new requirements for the, you know, the watershed requirements, which are very onerous, but I'm glad we got the grant. And what's the status of, we received the truck at this point,
So we
right?
haven't, there's quite a long lead time on the truck. Rob, do you know how
What is
long
the
it
timing
takes
on it?
It's over 12 months, I believe.
Yeah. To receive it?
12
And-
months still?
It can't be
No,
12
not-
months still.
It was, the purchase order was issued back in the fall, so I would think we're looking at sometime towards the end of this year.
I thought we had it because I had no idea it would take that long.
No, and
No,
that's
we
why we actually, we had to confirm this, that we were still eligible for the grant if we ordered it, because
I remember
we
that.
needed to get the order in, you know, chicken or the egg, but they did confirm that we could still apply for the grant and ultimately receive the grant even after we'd already ordered it, so.
Right, and if the board recalls, the grant did not cover the entire cost of the back truck. We have applied to East of Hudson for the balance.
Okay, so going down the list again, we talked about the rec master plan is definitely done.
Yep.
We talked about sidewalks.
Yep.
And FEMA projects, if we could talk about that, I don't know. I would like Jill to go over these infrastructure projects. But we can start, Rob, since you're here, so we can start with the Minkle Dam removal project. We have which is part of the FEMA grant. Jill, could you talk about the infrastructure projects with the FEMA projects?
Sure, yeah, and we're gonna be speaking about it a little bit later today. So Minkle Dam, tonight, during the latter part of the work session, we're gonna be talking about the request from engineering to actually reject all bids and give us authorization to go out and rebid the project. We received, I'm sorry.
That's for the pedestrian bridge now.
Oh, I'm sorry, my gosh.
Okay,
I was-
you scared me.
Me too, I was
Wow.
I said Minkle, I was
It's okay, it's okay.
Yeah, sorry. So
Thank goodness.
Minkle is a different
Not the
Yeah,
case.
sorry.
We're
Minkle,
doing
we
that
are
ourselves.
we've
Minkle.
secured an easement, which was a big step in the right direction. We've
Great.
secured what was original funding for the gosh, it's not even the full grant, it's not even the full project, it's just for phase one.
It's for phase one, so we actually, and I'm chiming because I was actually on a call today and we had a little bit of an update with that.
good.
With DISHES, which is the agency within New York State that administers the funds. So we're looking at that now and we've actually asked, we're gonna ask Tectonic to come. They're preparing a revised cost estimate now. There's some things that that I found out this afternoon that the Army Corps of Engineers was rejecting and not allowing in the original scope of the project, so they're gonna change the scope a little bit. It's gonna lower the price.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and we may have to
That's
do
good
kind of a
news.
phased, even more phased approach, so it probably won't be the $4 million that we had it estimated at most recently. But we are gonna ask Tectonic when they complete that estimate to come back and refresh the board on exactly what's happened. It's been through so many iterations over the last probably 5 or 6 years. It's bogged down with the DEC and Army Corps of Engineers review right now. So, you know, good news is we were on the call today and the FEMA funds, they are very confident are secured and not going anywhere. And in fact, they think there will probably be additional funding in the future for this type of project, so.
Wow, that's great to hear.
Minkle Dam is a great example of no good deed
I
goes
was
unpunished.
gonna say that, but I decided not to.
He's 100%
Cause you
right
know,
though.
you did a good thing
Yeah,
and
we took the land that
really
was
took
donated
that on.
and became a problem for the town of Newcastle.
Right, and so note to file, we never take any property that has dams on it.
What year was that?
80 something.
Yeah.
Okay, good, we're all safe.
We're all
years ago,
absolved,
We
None of us
voted-
played a role in that.
No, gosh, no.
so then it's okay to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
But for future boards,
But for
Yes, be
future
careful
boards,
what you
here
yeah.
are our warning.
Beware.
Don't
And let
don't
them
take
not
it.
be saying this, anything like this about us in
Oh,
the
yeah,
next
really.
20, 30 years.
No, hopefully not.
But while we're thinking about this, can we schedule Tectonic to come
Yeah.
Yeah, we can,
one
Jeff
of
is just
the next
having
board
them.
meetings?
Yeah, we're gonna wait for them to come up with the revised estimate after I guess the review with the Army Corps of Engineers and just kind of revising the scope a little bit, so.
Cause there's so much that goes on, I don't wanna lose track of this.
Absolutely.
How-
Oh, no,
How long,
we-
maybe
Not-
by
not-
next
yeah,
month we
none
can,
of this project.
Um,
This is
when can they
conversation.
Yeah, I hope to have that by next month, you know, Jeff Gaspar, our new engineer, is really on top of that,
Okay.
he's made a bunch of phone calls.
so let's make a note to put that on one of our agendas in March, so we don't forget. Okay.
Sorry, and then there's the pedestrian bridge replacement, which unfortunately we're gonna ask you to take and reject all the bids. We received 3 of them. The lowest bidder had no bridge experience. The second lowest bidder we were going to award it to. Unfortunately, they determined that there was an error in their calculations and with the engineering and withdrew their bid. And the highest bidder also had no bridge experience. So we're gonna go back to the drawing board with that. We also found out that the lead time on the fabrication of the bridge was 8 months. It was FEMA's direction to us to complete this project by August.
I think by the end of the year for sure.
Yeah, and we're not gonna make that deadline, so we will be asking FEMA for an extension.
How easy is that to get? Have
Hopefully
you done this before?
We
Made such a request before?
we just extended the Minkle Dam.
Oh, okay,
right,
so they're used
so-
to hearing from us about this.
Yeah, things move kind of at a snail's pace, especially when you're talking, when you add in permitting and the cost of these structures and these types of things that are just, you know, excessive right now, so yeah, I wouldn't think that's an issue.
It's just disappointing because it's such an eyesore.
I know, we, this was really top on our list, and I have to tell you that Jeff moved heaven and earth. He was
Yeah.
singularly focused on getting this one thing awarded and get it going and just
It-
Every
It's
step along the way.
disappointing because that contractor was the one that throughout the entire weekend before we announced the bid, they were emailing, and I think Lauren probably saw them constantly, do we get it, do we get it, do we get it? And we finally awarded it to them and they said, oh yeah, no thanks, we can't do it for that price anymore.
we were like,
So-
okay, what price can you do it for? And it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, we actually can't do it.
Okay, so we did not get a responsive
It's
bid.
disappointing.
We were supposed to accept the lowest but
Responsible.
most responsive
Responsible,
bid. Responsive.
responsible.
Responsible bidder.
Is it responsible?
Yeah.
I always thought it was responsive to the request.
Responsible,
Are you sure?
and that's such a vague term.
Cause I always heard it the other way. Okay.
Town boards speak for, we
But
don't have a lot of
anyway-
control over what bid we accept.
No, we do not.
Well, if you find that it's not responsible or responsive, you can go to the next one.
Right.
Yeah, so there's some control. But okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll move on.
Byram Lake Road Culvert Project is moving it unfortunately at a snail's pace. We're not quite there yet. We have engaged Tectonic, they've been helping us out with it, but we're not ready to go out to bid.
Is that Byram Lake replacement project, the one we had to coordinate with Mount Kisco on for the easement through?
Yeah, we will need to do that. Yes. Yeah. We'll talk.
Okay,
The generators, we were unsuccessful in our request to receive either one of those generators for the community center or Chapac. And last but not least, we've got Shether Road stabilization, which I'm happy to report we will be awarding tonight. So a little bit of a bright spot at the end of that. Water infrastructure, this is all gonna sound a little bit familiar to the board because we just went over the current projects not too long ago. But the Bedford Road Pump Station is moving ahead. The cement lining is something that we will be doing in the future. Bart is he's got that on his list for next year. Let's see. The water main replacement, we've completed, the Millwood Water Treatment Plant generator replacement is completed. The roof at the Millwood Water Treatment Plant has been completed. That whole generator project at Millwood Water Treatment Plant is complete. Is there anything else you want me to review? We do
we have the current projects
Yeah, so we've
page
got,
7.
we have a number of projects that are coming up that are with other agencies but taking place within Newcastle. So we've got a number of New York State Department of Transportation projects. Let's see, the KIP 120 replacement, culvert replacement has been completed. There is another culvert that's going to be scheduled for 117 in Old House Lane. They're looking at construction 2025, 2026 at this point. There's also a culvert replacement on the Sawmill Parkway. It's located between the Quaker Road Bridge and Horace Greeley Statue. That's also proposed to be somewhere between 2025 and 2026. And we've got Westchester County projects, the relief sewer for Joan Corwin Way, and then the extension of the county trunk in 120 with the town water replacement piggybacking onto that. So there's gonna be quite a few projects going on that actually are not town projects but do take place within our town. And so we're very mindful of the impact it's going to have on that very small area that's gonna be quite the choke point by the bridge.
Yeah, we'll have to put out a lot of communications
We
about
certainly will
that.
be. There are also a couple of one federal government project. We were awarded that $2.6 million grant received by New York State DOT for plans and permitting of the first step in eliminating grade crossing. I say we were awarded, it's we have nothing to do with the project. We are happy bystanders
Right, the
watching this take
state
place.
DOT and Metro North are the recipients of the grant
Right, and
from the US DOT, hopefully they'll get the money.
Yeah, and the best part is that we're not paying for this, so this is.
But I do hope that we have some say in the design and
Yes,
just how, where it starts and, well, I'm sure that there'll be a lot of requirements. It's a very hilly area,
yes,
you know, it's a quite a valley and I just hope that it's not overwhelming and I'd like to see it done in an aesthetically pleasing way. I know that we were allowed to make some recommendations for the bridge at the intersection in town.
right. That was New York State DOT, so we'll see
Right.
how open the federal government is to
But the grant is to the New York State DOT. It's
Yes,
from the
from the
US
federal.
DOT, but the New York State DOT will have it to do the work.
we'll see.
So hopefully they'll be as accommodating as they were with the no. Yes, let's just think positive.
I'm happy to think positive.
Now, I was not paying close attention to what was going on there. I was not here at the time, but I did think that the town had some say in the facade and
Yes,
doing the
yes,
stonework
we absolutely
and
did, yes.
you made it you made sure that it looked aesthetically pleasing, so that's the kind of thing I'm hoping we can do. Although people will be going through the sawmill, they won't be necessarily staring at it, but I don't want an eyesore.
But the safety of that is going to be tremendous.
Absolutely.
I mean, that, you know, the big picture
It's
is
huge.
that it will be tremendous for
And
our
it's safety for
community,
everyone, not just our town, but anyone going through that
the
area.
high school kids.
Absolutely.
It's a really great thing.
The high school kids, we have 91 new townhomes at Chappaqua Crossing. And, you know, even with the Chapac, a lot of visitors coming into that area. Yeah. Okay, what's next?
Very briefly, legislative, we talked about the town-owned property community survey, so that's been completed. We've got the legislative change regarding MG Zero building that was passed, and we just received the application for 15 North Greeley. So we await our internal review to see whether or not the application is complete and can go forward. We are in the midst of renovations for town hall bathrooms. They've just gutted the ladies' room on the second floor of town hall, which you guys probably noticed, sorry about that. And it's gonna look great when it's finished. And we've just got some other project, greenhouse gas inventory, climate action plan, and MOGO, which is something that the Woodwest Advisory Board was doing with the town of Boston. That's it.
Okay. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add to our goals? I know that Holly was not able to be with us today. She did want me to mention something on her behalf. And I think she has some good ideas here. She would like to see a separate category for climate change resilience, and I think that's a fantastic idea. So we can keep that in mind, you know, we can put that category and look at the NYSERDA projects that we have coming online and talk to Saab and the Climate Smart Communities Task Force to see where we can where we can add to the projects that we're considering.
Okay, good.
Holly also mentioned that she'd like to see zoning include all of North Greeley. So okay, those were her comments. And are we done? We're all set? Okay. So Joe, we can go to administrative items.
Sure. Okay, we've got retroactive payment of claims for checks dated January 31st and also February 7th. We've got authorization to approve the agreement with Seven Bridges Swim Club. This is for summer camp. It's for $12,345 and it allows our Camp Adventure kids to go swimming every day. So that's great. We've got an authorization to release a stormwater maintenance bond for 54 Hunts Place. This is the Conifer project. It's for $44,000. It was put up 2 years ago to ensure that the stormwater improvements operated properly, and they do. We've got authorization to award the bid for Shether Road stabilization projects. This is for Scape Tech Landscaping, and it's in the amount of $779,740. We have authorization to approve the annual contract for the voice recording system for the police, and also the visual computer solutions, which is the scheduling software for the police. Let's see, the voice recording is a $9,889 lease payment, annual lease payment, and the VCS is a $3,000 annual scheduling software contract. We've got authorization to approve professional services contract to purchase Municity 5. This is a significant upgrade for the development department. We are now moving to a cloud-based system, which is pretty terrific. It has been anticipated in our capital improvements. And it's $44,047 payment for this year. It's an initial implementation payment. We got an authorization to issue an HVAC permit refund in the amount of $1,878 from the development department. We don't usually return these things, but this one gentleman was actually doing a geothermal installation at his home and found out that the Croton Aqueduct runs under his house and he
Oh
had to
my
stop the
goodness.
project immediately. So yeah,
Wow.
sort of unique set of circumstances, but we're
Okay.
refunding it, allowing him to take and
That's fair.
refigure how that's going to happen. That was unusual. That's a first for us. We've got authorization to utilize Glacier Arboretum Expandable Trust. We've got a not to exceed $5,000. We have Ike's Cruise, the Parks Cruise are gonna be out doing some improvements to footbridges. And we're just letting the board know that we're finally expending some of that expandable trust.
So Jill, is that what the conservation board has the authority to, or a sort of the direction to use, and is this their suggestion?
Yes, they know about it. Yeah, I mean, these are safety improvements, these
Okay,
are these are must
But it's
have.
the same fund,
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
It is the same fund. We are required to use this fund. We're up to 6 figures on it and the park needs safety improvements.
I feel like it's very
Okay.
rare that we find opportunities to spend it.
Exactly,
It's
Is there a
restricted to that
deadline?
property.
Right.
It's restricted to that property,
Right.
but there's certainly,
Glad to see we can spend some of it.
yes, no,
a drop.
we should be spending it certainly on the safety improvements,
Right.
without question. So it would be great if there could be a little bit more attention to those, utilizing those funds a little bit more proactively. But I'm glad to see that there were at least been some safety projects that have been identified and we will be spending money on them, fixing them. We've got authorization to approve the banner request for the Friends of the Library. Authorization to declare surplus 900 cubic yards of asphalt millings. The millings that we pull up when we do paving, we can actually sell them, so that's what we'll be doing.
okay.
We have authorization to hire a stormwater mapping consultant. So we're very excited to be able to engage Labella. It's a fee of $125,000, what will be a major step forward in our stormwater MS4 requirements. The great news is that we were able to secure a grant for $75,000 that will help defray a significant portion of that $125,000.
And other municipalities under MS4, are they doing the same thing?
They
I mean,
will-
this is a requirement.
yes,
I
Right, so
don't
this,
think they've been as
yeah.
proactive
Yes,
as
we
we've
have.
Yeah,
been, to be
so-
honest with you.
I think it's important to know that this is a mandate, we're not really deciding to do this is a requirement.
And we have a great track record. in
We
terms
do.
of- yeah.
We do, but I think, I think we're out front on this. Sabrina went out and identified this consultant that's gonna help us track all of the requirements that, all the reporting requirements that we have for the MS4, so.
Right, and she spearheaded us obtaining a New York State DEC WQIP grant, so that's pretty great.
Okay.
Let's see, where are we next?
Refund solar.
Authorization to refund the solar permit application fees. We had a return of an application that was never accepted, so. Authorization to use town property, we've got the Girl Scouts, Troop 2745, who would like permission to use the Chappaqua train station on Saturday, March 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We've got authorization to approve the tent rental for summer camp. We're awarding that to Ace for $3,625. We have authorization to purchase replacement lift cylinders for DPW. It's slightly over $10,000, but as a matter of course, we always inform the board of a $10,000 or more expenditure, just so that the board is aware of the larger purchases that we make, even when they're included in the budget from the year before. And then we've got authorization to establish a capital project and budget for 210 Joan Corwin Way building structural repairs. We've set aside about $100,000 for anticipated repairs to the building. We've had an estimate for structural repairs. And so we're gonna be looking to take and do some improvements to that, to the Parks Garage. And that's all I have. Any questions on any of these?
Thank you, Jill. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn the work session and open the town board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we are now at the town board meeting. So Jill, do you have any announcements?
I have a little bit of an administrator's report. You want me to do that first or after yours? What do you
Yeah,
like?
well, I will reserve the supervisor's report for my newsletter.
Okay.
So we will go to your administrator's report.
Alright, we are happy to announce that the LED auditorium, the LED Chappaqua Performing Arts Center Auditorium Light Replacement Project began on Monday. We acknowledge the assistance of Senator Pete Harcum in the town securing a $100,000 grant to convert the original incandescent lighting to a dimmable LED system. Our electrician Dan Rubino with his assistant Dave DeSantis are not only replacing the lighting system up at Chapac, but they're also upgrading the fire alarm system at the venue as well. So we thank them for their hard work in upgrading the facility. As Rob mentioned to you earlier, the water re-levy notices are in the mail. The town sends out water re-levy notices this week. If you have an outstanding water bill since October 1st that is more than $100, you may receive a re-levy notice. And if you do, it means that the amount of the delinquent bill may appear on your town and county tax bill on a line labeled water rents. If the amount is paid before March 7th, the lien will not appear on your tax bill. If you have any questions, please call Mark down at DPW at 914-238-3968. And we have a couple of paid internships that are available to Newcastle residents. Two of them are Millwood Water Treatment Plant internships. They're called the Mike Martis internships, and they're for engineering students. And then we've got a couple of in-house internships. Those are paid, by the way, and Newcastle internships as well. Basically, the engineering and planning department are looking for assistance with stormwater fieldwork, stormwater website, putting together outreach materials for the general public and contractors, and reworking older planning applications. So we're looking for 3 students to do that. You need at least 1 year of college. That's it.
What a great opportunity.
Very.
Okay, thanks, Jill. Let's see, so at this time, we've reached the public comment period, so anyone in the audience who would like to make a public comment, please feel free to come up to the microphone and identify yourselves. Okay, seeing that there's no one in person for comment, is there anyone online who would like to make a public comment? This is not for the public hearing, in case anyone's here for that, this is for general public comments.
There were no hands raised online.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I would like to now ask for a motion to open the public hearing on a local law to amend the provisions of chapter 93, section 2 regarding property maintenance.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mike, in lieu of Lino being here, do you want to run us through the property maintenance law
Yes.
before I don't see anyone here
So-
necessarily to make comments, but you know, the public hearing is still open.
Right, yeah, so we did have some comments,
Is your mic on?
yeah. The light is on, oh, okay, how about that?
Much
Oh,
better.
there we go,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so we did have some comments to the public law regarding access around the curtilage of the homes. The idea of the law is to make sure that, you know, notwithstanding our, you know, encouragement and accessibility of pollinated, you know, gardening and you know, having individuals, you know, have that capability. We do need to keep the curtilage of the house of each home and each residence free from debris and any sort of brush or blockages that would prevent the ease of access for emergency services. With that said, there were some comments that the board received during the open period, which we considered and discussed, but the problem with the comments that we received was that the enforceability would have been an issue, and then in turn, because the enforceability would have been problematic, it raises, you know, public health and safety concerns, which are paramount. You know, so at the end of the day, that's going to carry the day, the public health and safety concerns. So we took the comments into consideration and believe that the excuse me, the local law is appropriate as written, and recommendation is made that we keep the language as it was published.
We did clarify language to exempt pollinator plants and native gardens from the
And
law.
native gardens, right?
And we do understand, and I'm very grateful to the people who took time to give us suggestions. The problem is that the language that was suggested was vague, and we don't want issues with selective enforcement and
Right.
other problems that could occur because of vague language.
Right, and then, yeah.
So we will keep the language as is your recommendation.
That's correct, yeah, and again, like you said, Supervisor, it's the underlying policy that we're getting at here is safety, and the questions around enforcement, we didn't recommend that, we adopt those because they, ultimately would get in the way of the primary purpose of the local law.
Okay, all right, thanks for the background. Do board members have any further questions on this? We've gone over it many times, and so anyone in the audience would like to make a comment on for the public hearing? Seeing no one in the audience, no one interested in making a comment, sorry, I see you. Is there anyone online for the public hearing?
No hands are raised online.
Okay. All right, I think that I would recommend that we close the public hearing and perhaps leave it open as we usually do until Friday at noon
For written comments.
for written comments. Leave the record open for written comments. What is the date?
The 14th.
The 14th, okay. So I would like to ask for a motion to close the public hearing and leave the record open for written comments until February 14th at noon.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay,
Consent agenda.
consent agenda. Jill, do you want to, sorry, That we trust you with that.
Sorry, I didn't write that.
No, we wanna keep track of that.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Dennis, thank you, Tom.
Oh,
We appreciate you attending tonight.
I really should have mentioned it. I was assuming you had nothing more to add if you, well, we've closed it anyway, so I think we're all set, but I really
Nice.
You too. Good
appreciate
night,
all of your advice and your
Thank you,
work
thank
on
you.
this. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Take care.
Thank you.
I was wondering if
Yeah.
you'd be texting me in the middle of the meeting. Got it. Okay, so our consent agenda is gonna sound a little familiar. We have authorization to approve agreement with Seven Bridges Swim Club, authorization to release the stormwater maintenance bond, authorization to approve the annual contract for the voice recording system and visual computer solutions for both for the police. We've got authorization to approve the professional services contract to purchase Municity 5 from the Development Department, authorization to issue an HVAC permit refund, authorization to utilize Glazier Arboretum Expandable Trust, authorization to approve banner request for the Friends of the Chappaqua Library, authorization to declare surplus and auction for asphalt millings, authorization to hire a stormwater mapping consultant from the Development Department, authorization to refund solar permit application fees, authorization to use town property, authorization to approve the tent rental, goodness, from the summer camp, authorization to purchase replacement lift cylinders, authorization to establish the capital project and budget for 210 Joan Colwyn Way Building Structural Repairs Project, and authorization to reject all bids and rebid the 120 pedestrian bridge project that we spoke about earlier.
Do you wanna go over, we need to go over the proposed actions on the agenda? We have them all on the consent agenda.
They're not on the consent agenda. What was that?
On the, they're in the resolutions.
Right, so there's the two payment of claims, the town staff, the rate increase for recreation, authorization to hire a summer intern in the clerk's office, authorization to hire senior office assistant in DPW, we've got conservation board appointments. And we've got the authorization to impose the moratorium on both BESS, the battery energy storage systems, and on commercial solar arrays. And the authorization to award the bid for the Shether Road slope stabilization project.
Thanks, Joan.
Right, and there are individual resolutions for each of those.
Yes. Okay, Ally, do you wanna begin?
Sure. I move to adopt the items 1 through 16 as listed on the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I move to retroactively approve the payment of claims in the amount of $558,358.94 listed on the summary AP check register and detailed voucher detail reports, all dated January 31st, 2025. Checks were printed and distributed to each claimant listed on Friday, January 31st, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Want me to read one more?
Yeah.
For the next, I'll do the whole page.
Do
alright.
the next page.
Alright. I move to retroactively approve the payment of claims in the amount of $358,150.40 listed on the listed on the summary AP check register and detailed voucher detail reports, all dated February 7th, 2025. Checks were printed and distributed to each claimant listed on Friday, February 7th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to authorize the hiring of the following individuals listed below for the position of recreation attendants within the Recreation and Parks Department to serve as 2025 camp staff.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, go ahead.
I move to authorize the pay rate increase for the following individuals as reflected below, effective February 2025.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I move to authorize the hiring of Connor McHugh as to serve as student intern within the town clerk's office for the total amount of $2,000 for a period of 6 weeks, effective May 22nd, 2025.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I think Jen, you wanna take the last page? Oh, actually, there are two more pages.
I move to authorize the hiring of Jennifer Angeline for the position of senior office assistant within the Department of Public Works at the annual salary of $67,206.62, effective March 12th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to authorize the appointment of the following individuals as members of the Conservation Board for a term of 2 years effective February 12th, 2025 through December 31st, 2027.
Do you have the list?
Sarah Weissman, Belinda Rousel, and Sergio Morano.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to authorize the town board to adopt a local law establishing a 6-month moratorium prohibiting the review and approval of applications and permits for battery energy storage systems in the town of Newcastle.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to authorize the town board to adopt a local law establishing a 6-month moratorium prohibiting the review and approval of applications and permits for solar collectors and installations in the town of Newcastle.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to authorize the award of bid for the Shether Road Slope Stabilization Project to Scape Tech Landscape Technology Inc. for the total amount of $779,740.
Second.
Dollars.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. May I get a motion? May I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you, everybody.